So glad to see you. We are back at it here on this Tuesday, 4th day of January 2022. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. There is a lot to get to today. As you can see behind me, not a lot to see from the cross camera. Pretty thick fog right now. There's very dense freezing fog right now out in the Columbia Basin. Heads up there, very bad visibility on the highway. Quincy, Ephrata, Moses Lake, Ritzville, not pleasant driving. The roadways aren't too bad, but the visibility is not particularly good. We are in for more snow Wednesday night into Thursday. This could be another significant snow event. We had about 3, depending on where you live here in the Wenatchee Valley, about 3.5 inches here in the valley proper, about 4 maybe in some locations. Other locations got 7 or 8 inches of snow. We catch a break today, most of the day Wednesday, starting Wednesday tomorrow, right around sunset, right around 4:30, it's going to come back and it's going to snow Wednesday night into Thursday. If the computer models pan out as they do, they are calling this a significant snow event. So here we go again. Details coming up. Passes, not pleasant. You're not going to believe the snow totals you're going to get in the mountain passes for the rest of the week. The numbers are mind-boggling. I'll give those to you when we take you up to the major mountain passes. News, we're going to lead with the accidents from yesterday. There were a lot. We got some pretty interesting footage from our PTZ cameras to show you. Sports, the big story, the Wenatchee Eastmont basketball games. The doubleheader between the girls and the boys will be at Wenatchee High School's gymnasium with some restrictions. Again, we'll talk about that. And speaking of sports, in the back half of the hour, we do it every Tuesday. We visit with Sean Zears, the interim broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. It's always good to talk Wild hockey. They had a pretty good December. They'll be up north this weekend. Sean will be joining us in the back half of the program. We have a lot to get to. Let's not waste any more time. I have no idea what we're going to be able to see out here with our PTZ cameras. Probably not much. Uriah, throw them up. There's a beautiful shot of the Wenatchee Valley. That's what it looks like right now from the cross camera. And it's not that far away, of course, from the Wenatchee Valley, but it is very dense fog right now. And it's not as bad as it was. It was even worse about an hour ago. So we have some pretty dense fog and freezing fog in some locations that have developed. It will be burning off, by the way, later on today. So that is the cross camera. That's just what we're looking at. Let's see if we have something we can actually look at. How about that? I don't know what that is, but it's something. Uriah? That's Cougar? That's Cougar Ridge? Okay, I trust you. Okay. That's Cougar Ridge, but I don't think we have that pointed towards the valley. I think he has that pointed maybe to the north or maybe to the south, I'm thinking now. Cougar Ridge, normally we have that pointed so you can see the Otobashian Bridge and the Stimmill Complex and Omi Gardens and things like that. I have no idea where he has that pointed at. I think he has that pointed actually to the southeast. Just a guess, but a pretty good one. I don't know. Camera number 3. I was born and raised here. I should probably know that. That looks to be the Rude Canyon camera. It is, so we say good morning to Waterville. Now, as you can see, it doesn't look too foggy and cloudy up in Waterville. It's when you get out in the Columbia Basin where they're dealing with some very dense fog. Good morning to Waterville. It's good to see you on this Tuesday morning. That is a pretty sight, isn't it? Camera 4. Oh, and speaking of pretty sights, he did this to me last week, and I couldn't figure out what it was we were looking for. But that, I think, is definitely Jump-Off Ridge. So that is a great example of the low, freezing, dense fog. Look at that. That's the Wenatchee Valley off in the distance. That's completely socked in fog. Now, again, it is going to burn off. As you can see, you get above the cloud cover and the fog. It's fairly clear. You can actually even see the cross, but you can't see the Wenatchee Valley. It's just that glowy light in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Paymore Memorial Airport is to your right, and the Stimmill Basin to the bottom. That's what we have for you today. Oh, we're going to go ahead and do camera 5. What the heck? This is the first. Television history, 5 cameras, ladies and gentlemen. Downtown Wenatchee takes a bow. The main arterials are okay. It's the side streets and going up and down hills that are a bit dicey this morning. But again, we're going to be a little dry, it looks like. Just some intermittent snow showers for the next 48 hours or so until we get to Wednesday night. We have a couple of slides to show for you. First of all, light snow, off and on, today and tomorrow. No big deal. We're probably not going to get any snow at all today. Maybe a little bit tonight, maybe a little bit Wednesday morning. It's when we get to Wednesday night into Thursday when the next significant snow event. In fact, they've issued a winter storm watch from Wednesday evening through Thursday afternoon. So get ready for some big-time snow coming our way. Now, again, the computer models are not quite in agreement, so they're kind of all over the place. We're looking at probably starting Wednesday night, the timeline, if we want to throw that slide up, the timeline for the snowfall for the Wenatchee Valley is going to begin tomorrow night right around sunset, right around maybe 4:30 or 5. Light snow is going to pick up in intensity. By the time we get to 11 o'clock or midnight Wednesday into early Thursday morning, it should start coming down at a pretty good clip. So we're looking at Wednesday night, 4 to maybe 7 inches of snow, and then Thursday morning, we're going to get an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow. Right now, it's a winter storm watch. That may change to a winter storm warning. So the Thursday morning commute is not going to be particularly pleasant. From the National Weather Service, let's do it. So we're going to see some sun breaks later on today. Again, it's very dense fog right now. Once the sun gets going, and it will rise officially at 7:48 this morning. Once it gets up there, it'll start cooking up a little bit. They say about 32. We didn't get very warm at all yesterday. We only got to 21 degrees. Our normal high is 32. Are we going to get there? I don't know. We'll see. 21 for the overnight low tonight. Again, very little snow, if any, today nor tonight. Wednesday, some light flurries. Later on in the day, the deeper into the day on Wednesday, the better chance we have of snow. As I already mentioned, right around sunset tomorrow night is when the snow is going to come. Overnight Wednesday, it should come down, as it is now, pretty hard. Again, about 4 to 7 inches of snow overnight Wednesday night, with the heaviest snow coming down 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It's going to come down at a pretty good clip. And then once Thursday gets going, we're still looking at another 1 to 3 inches of snow possible. So by the time the system exits Thursday night and we warm up quite a bit, look how warm we're going to get on Friday. By the time the system gets through us, anywhere from 4 to 10 inches of snow in the Wenatchee Valley. That's a lot of snow, more than what we got yesterday. Look how warm we're going to get on Friday. One of the reasons, and we've talked about this before, it is a warm front that's coming in. So the snow that we are expected overnight Wednesday into Thursday, going to be some pretty heavy, pretty wet snow. We could even see some light rain mixed with snow on Thursday afternoon. Friday, still pretty mild, up near 39 degrees, but we can't rule out some snow. Even maybe some freezing rain on Friday, like we really need that. And then not a bad weekend. Saturday and Sunday, the sun will be making a return. Maybe we'll get some snow melt. We'll cool down gradually. But again, the big story, a significant snow event. It looks like it's shaping up if the computer models are in agreement, and right now they are. Starting Wednesday about sunset, going to Thursday morning about 9 or 10, it's going to snow, and it ain't going to stop. Anywhere from 4 to 10 inches of snow. I know it seems like, boy, that's a pretty large parameter. We will know a lot more by this afternoon and tonight, so be sure to tune in with Grant Olson and the evening news at 5 o'clock tonight. He'll give you an update on exactly how much snow he thinks we're going to get Wednesday night into Thursday. Your Past Report brought to you by D.A. Davidson, the strength of a trusted partner and personalized solutions to meet your financial needs. Member SIPC. The good news, the passes are open. The bad news is that they're not very fun. There's a winter weather advisory in effect now. That switches over to a winter storm watch. I'm going to give you some snow totals here in just a minute. That's a live shot of Stevens Pass. Chains are required on Stevens Pass unless you have an all-wheel drive. It is snowing with compact snow and ice on the roadway. Blewett Pass. You can't see anything, but trust me, it's there. Chains are required on Blewett Pass. Compact snow and ice on the roadway. There's Blewett. Clear skies. It's not snowing, but still, chains are required unless you have all-wheel drive on Blewett Pass. It isn't particularly pleasant. I-90, this is a screenshot we had to take because the cameras at the summit are not working and have not been working for about 4 or 5 days now. On I-90, chains are required on all vehicles except all-wheel drive. It is snowing hard and visibility is quite poor, but at least it's open, which it wasn't for most of the day yesterday. So it's a chain requirement across the board. Stevens, chains required. Blewett, chains required. Snoqualmie, chains required, unless you have all-wheel drive, and even that isn't going to make it particularly easy. Here you go. Snow today in the mountain passes, 3 to 5 inches. Tonight, 3 to 5 inches. Wednesday, 1 to 3 inches. Wednesday night in the passes, 17 to 23 inches of snow. Thursday, 12 to 18 inches of snow. Thursday night, 6 to 10 inches of snow. So between today and Thursday night, anywhere from 42 to 64 inches of snow in the mountain passes. It's simply going to come down big time, especially Wednesday night. Just like here in the Wenatchee Valley, as this warm front comes in, packing a whole bunch of moisture, going to collide with that cold air. Just like we're going to get some snow, boy, the passes are just going to get hammered with snow. There is no break at all. And by the way, there's snow in the forecast for the weekend as well. 10 minutes after the hour, a 1-minute break, and then your Tuesday morning headlines. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Sure glad we went to Les Schwab.
I'm glad the baby's still happy.
Well, I'm just glad that along with tires, Les Schwab also does brakes, alignment, and a bunch of other safety services. I mean, if we'd gone to a cheap tire store instead, I'd be a doggone wreck.
My thoughts exactly.
Swing by today and get road trip ready with our always free pre-trip safety check. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Introducing Alpine Airman. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
11 minutes after the hour, it is quite foggy, as you can see, in downtown Wenatchee. Very dense, freezing fog. It will burn off. We'll see some sun breaks this afternoon. We'll warm up to the upper 20s anyway. We'll be dry today. A little bit of light snow off and on tonight. Probably not going to amount to any accumulation. Once again, we're keeping a very close eye on Wednesday late afternoon, all the way overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning. Anywhere from 4 to 10 inches of new snow expected here in the Wenatchee Valley. Speaking of snow, there were at least 11 accidents that we know of, probably more in area highways yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon as the snow came down in the area. Washington State Patrol Trooper John Bryant said there were no injuries in any of the accidents. Among the wrecks, that one. That happened at 9:48 yesterday morning on Highway 2 near Monitor. Bryant said 33-year-old Edgar Rodriguez Cruz was driving his 1992 Honda Accord westbound, simply driving too fast for conditions, lost control, flipped into the ditch with the Accord ending up on his top. This is the 11:02 accident when a Toyota pickup being driven by 18-year-old Mason Renslow on Highway 97A. This was 6 miles south of Antioch. He lost control in his truck and he hit a Link Transit bus, which pushed the bus into the guardrail. Neither the driver of the pickup nor anybody on the bus was injured. There was another accident in the Monitor area there that you see. By the way, Bryant said Link sent another bus to transport the driver and the passengers back to Wenatchee. Then the bus was towed. By the way, 3 sections of the guardrail along 97A were damaged by the Link bus. The Wenatchee Police Department are on the lookout for a couple of suspects who they say burglarized Lizzie's jewelry store on Palouse Street in Wenatchee. This happened early Saturday morning. The pair reportedly broke into the business at about 7 a.m. Surveillance photos show them with large bags taking items from broken display cases. Their suspected vehicle is described as a red, late-model Toyota 4Runner. Now, police say the camera was unable to capture the license plate of the vehicle. Anybody who can help them identify the 2 suspects is asked to contact the Wenatchee Police Department on Rivercom's non-emergency line at 509-663-9911. Steve Wright headed up his final meeting on Thursday as the general manager of the Chelan County PUD. He became the leader of the utility 8 years ago after a career at the Bonneville Power Administration. When he announced his retirement back in April, he said he stayed longer with the PUD because, well, he found the job fun and rewarding. On January 1st, he officially turned over the reins to Kirk Hudson, who moves up to head the office from his longtime post as Generation and Transmissions Manager. And at that same meeting, the Chelan County PUD set a contract with Avista Corporation, one of its major customers. They signed a 20-year agreement with the PUD. That was approved at Thursday's meeting. Now, under the contract, Avista will buy 5% of the output from Rock Island and Rocky Reach hydropower dams from 2026 through 2030. And that share increases to 10% of the output in 2031 through 2045. Avista is based in Spokane. They already buy power from the PUD on a smaller scale. The company says the long-term bulk purchase helps meet its goals of carbon-free electric service to its own customers. Avista has about 400,000 customers in eastern Washington, northern Idaho, and in Oregon. With the spread of COVID-19, the new Omicron variant, the Chelan County Commissioners said they're going to move their twice-weekly meetings back to Zoom. The 3 commissioners have been meeting in person with masks on since last fall. But Commissioner Kevin Overbay, who's chairing the board this year, says an update from Chelan Douglas Health District Director Luke Davies convinced him that remote meetings are now the safest option to prevent the spread of the virus.
just to kind of make sure that we not only take care of ourselves, but also take care of our staff and minimize exposures that we have to one another. I know that we kind of have our germ circle here, but I wanted to kind of tee that up for conversation with you both and get your thoughts on that.
I am 100% in favor.
I would be as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what I would like to do is maybe implement that as soon as possible. So I know that we are here together right now, but I would like to actually do that even as soon as after we take our break, and maybe if we have a recess, that we would then go ahead and log back in and maintain our physical separation, at least for the time being, until we can kind of see this variant combated in one way or another.
That's what's making news at 16 minutes after the hour. If yesterday is any indication, we're going to be very busy in the bullpen today, but we'll be gathering the news and getting you informed at 5, 6, and 10 with that all-important snowy weather forecast. From Grant Olson with the preview of tonight's news, here's the man himself.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, the director of Omi Gardens, Jason Browning, has resigned. We'll tell you more about that. More snow possible later today, with an even bigger storm headed our way tomorrow night. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom has a look at tonight's prep basketball schedule, as well as the latest on the Kraken and the Seahawks. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
I make a point of watching it, and don't forget, we got high school basketball tonight. We're going to have the boys' game between Eastmont and the Panthers live for you at 7:30, and the girls' game will be airing on a tape delay basis. In fact, that's going to be our lead sports story in just a couple of minutes. But don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. You can use our Facebook page, our website, or you can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Find ageless beauty at Chelan Valley Skincare. Cindy offers the most up-to-date treatments for personalized skincare. If sagging skin or acne scars are some skin challenges for you, Chelan Valley Skincare offers non-invasive, non-surgical skincare. With up-to-date technology for shorter treatment plans, you'll benefit from Cindy's expertise to help you accomplish your skincare goals. Please stop by their website for details on all their services. Call Cindy today for your free consultation.
Hi, I'm Katie Joslin, and I'm a pediatrician at CVCH. I would like to address some of the hesitancy that many parents may be feeling about the COVID-19 vaccine for their young child. My husband and I both work in the medical field, and we have reviewed the research, and we determined that this vaccine is far safer for our child than getting a COVID-19 infection. I encourage you to talk to your provider and find out if the COVID-19 vaccine is the right choice for your child.
18 minutes after the hour in sports, the Omicron variant as well. It's affected tonight's big basketball game between the Eastmont Wildcats and the Wenatchee Panthers. Now, only 999 tickets will be available for tonight's game at Wenatchee High School. In an email from WHS Athletic Director Jim Beeson last night, details were spelled out on how fans can attend the games in person. Now, according to Beeson, 500 tickets are reserved for students at each high school with wristbands available at the school's athletic office. The remaining 499 tickets are available online for sale at ticketspicket.com. Ticketspicket.com, all right? Any tickets left from the student allotment not picked up by 3 o'clock today will be turned over for online purchases. Fans will be required to wear masks and practice social distancing, or you can watch the game on TV. We'll have it for you right here on the NCW Life channel. Eric and Grant will have the girls' game live on our Facebook page at 5:45. We'll have the boys' game live here on television and on our Facebook page at 7:30. Then the girls' game will be on television on a tape delay basis at 10:30. All right, here's your schedule for the basketball courts tonight across North Central Washington. Kashmir hosts Chelan. Cascade will visit Quincy. At 6, you got Omak at Tenasket, and the Ephrata girls will be hosting East Valley. For the smaller schools, again with the ladies, starting at 6, you got Oroville at Brewster. Cascade Christian hosting Soap Lake. Wilson Creek visits Bridgeport. You got Antioch taking on Pateros, and Liberty Bell is at Okanagan. The boys' schedule is the same, just later on in the day. Chelan's at Kashmir. Quincy will host Cascade. They tip off at 7:15. Tanaska takes on Omak at 7:30. Freda hosts East Valley of Yakima. At 7:30, Orville at Brewster. Soap Lake visits Cascade Christian. Bridgeport will host Wilson Creek. Pateras travels to Andy Okanagan will take on Libertyville. To the Les Schwab men's college basketball scoreboard last night, Washington played just its third game since Thanksgiving. They've had all kinds of COVID issues, and they lost in Tucson. 95-79. Terrell Brown Jr. led the way for the Huskies. He had 28 points against his former team. Emmett Matthews Jr., 16 points for Washington as they lose their first Pac-12 game of the season. After a 6-3 December, the Wenatchee Wild hit the road this week for a couple of games in BCHL play. Wenatchee will play at Coquitlam Friday at 7. Then they'll be at Chilliwack Saturday at 7. The interim radio voice of the Wenatchee Wild, Sean Zears, says this is a great opportunity for the Wild to get 2 games against teams not in their own division.
What's really important is just trying to get wins against these opponents that you're not going to be facing, because every win counts. And after this, it's all divisional play. And it's so important to get these wins against these non-divisional opponents because, again, it's 2 more wins possibly that you could pick up that another team might not be able to get because they're not going to be able to play anymore against the non-divisional opponents. And again, it's not like Coquitlam and Chilliwack are slouches. I mean, they're not bad teams either. I mean, they're right there in the middle of the pack. So it'll be a good test for Wenatchee to go up there to see, experience, how they are up there. Now, of course, with their protocols, their arenas are only half full.
Now, the BCHL has added 4 additional home games for the Wenatchee Wild, and Sean says, well, that's a good thing.
They get to play Penticton on the 15th. They get to play Cranbrook on February 2nd, and then they got West Kelowna on March 2nd, and then Trail on March 9th. All of those are 6 p.m. games, and they're all at the Town Toyota Center. So that's more revenue for Wenatchee, and that's 4 more games. Now, what I thought was going to change but didn't is how they determine the playoff seedings, because everybody's got 54 games now. Now, you would think that they would change it back, but they're not. They are leaving the winning percentage the way it is. So if you're winning, if you have less points, you could still be ahead of a team because of a winning percentage. And I think it all evens up at the end anyway.
My complete conversation with Sean, by the way, will air in the back half of this morning's program. It's good stuff. The big question coming out of Sunday's victory over Detroit, Bobby Wagner. He got hurt on the very first defensive play of the game, didn't play the rest of the game. Coach Pete Carroll says the MRI, we don't know.
That he's got a sprained knee, and it's swollen today and all that, but it's not the kind of damage that would make you have to get surgery. So we just got to find out, what the recovery time is like and take care of him right now.
So is he not going to play Sunday?
I don't know that yet. I don't know that.
So that's one big question mark. The other one, the future of Russell Wilson. The rumors have been floating around that last Sunday was his last home game with the Seahawks. Coach Pete Carroll says he thinks Russell Wilson's coming back.
The kind of conversation we have behind the scenes are not in line with the rumors. Okay? There you go. No, they're not at all. We've been talking, we've been together and connected throughout this whole season, and that's why it's easy to dismiss those at this time.
Seahawks finish up the course of the regular season down in Glendale to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Pete Carroll taking a unique approach to the last 2 games of the season. He said last week's game was the NFC Championship, and this Sunday's game is the Super Bowl.
The reason that that's important to me is because this is our opportunity to play the last games of the year, and you have to win them, and that's the NFL is all about winning that last game, and how difficult it is to win the last game. And I wanted to have some reference for the young guys who haven't had that opportunity yet, where we're talking the talk, and they understand that there is a conversation about some factors that can only happen once you get to the very end of the season. And so I'm just trying to teach from it's way more the importance of it than anything else. It's about teaching what it's like and see if we can gain something in it. I mean, like this last game this week, this worked out perfect. For taking advantage of, we put it like it's a playoff game. This is the things we have to do with what we want to look like, and we pulled it off. And so, we'll have that reference point. If we can win another one here, then we'll be better for it.
Again, the Seahawks and the Cardinals in sunny Arizona. 1:25 kickoff. You can watch the game on Fox or not. It's a free country. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 25 minutes after the hour. The obscure holiday of the day today. It doesn't get much better than this. On top of spaghetti. I forgot how the song goes. It's National Spaghetti Day, one of the most popular foods anywhere. Of course, noodles. Pasta itself goes back to like the 1st century. Courtesy of our friends out there in Asia, and eventually made it to Italy in the 8th century, and it was the Italians who made their mark and made spaghetti pretty much what it is today. But it was the Italian immigrants who brought spaghetti with them in the 18th and the early 19th centuries that made it an American staple. The Americans, we have contributed 2 significant things to spaghetti. Meatballs, that was us, and tomato sauce, or as Mike would say, gravy. That's us. We did that. Yeah, pretty cool. The most popular spaghetti topping, of course, is Parmesan. Nobody knows that. Marco Polo did not discover spaghetti. That's one of the great urban myths. The average American eats 15.5 pounds of pasta every year, of all kinds. 15.5 pounds of pasta the average American eats every year. The average Italian eats 55 pounds of pasta every year. That's a lot. In the United States, we make about 2 million tons of pasta a year. In Italy, which is a lot smaller than we are, they make 3 million tons of pasta every year. Spaghetti, it's one of the ultimate comfort foods. Super easy to make. It's down the road you go. And remember, as Mike McNaughty would say, it's not spaghetti sauce, it's gravy. Don't start with them. So I just call it gravy. Happy National Spaghetti Day. Let's do Today in History. Just one significant event. Utah joined the Union. Yeah, happy birthday to Utah. That's the Utah state flag. On January 4th, 1896, Utah became the 45th state in the Union. It is known as the Beehive State, of course. 60% of all Utahians, what do you call yourself if you're a resident of Utah or a native of Utah? Utahians? I don't know. 60% are Mormons. And of those, the vast majority of them are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Of course, it has its world headquarters in Salt Lake City. Utah is the only state in the entire Union where most of the population belongs to just one church. Pretty fascinating. In order to join the Union, the United States required that Utah outlaw, polygamy. You can join the Union, Utah. This man getting married to 9 women, you got to 86 that, so they did. That was one of the requirements. Utah is the only state where every county in this state has at least some portion of a national forest in it. A lot of wilderness in Utah. When Jim Bridger became the first English-speaking person to discover Salt Lake, he thought he had discovered the Pacific Ocean. He didn't. By the way, Salt Lake has 9 times more salt in it than any ocean in the world. It is really, really salty. It's also really, it's salty. Utah is the most charitable people in the country. Utah is number 1 in volunteering time and money than any other state in the Union, and Utah and Hawaii, the only 2 states that have what in common. I'll let you think about it for just a minute. Utah and Hawaii have this in common. They're the only 2 states in the Union where all forms of gambling are illegal. Happy birthday, Utah. Fine. What's that? They're Utahns. You just told me in my earpiece they're called Utahns, which I put on my salad. Tasty stuff. Birthdays. At the bottom of the hour, the most influential and well-known scientist ever. All scientists go back to this guy, Sir Isaac Newton. Born in the state in 1643. He was English. He was a mathematician. He was a physicist. He was really smart, and he lived a long time. For somebody born in the 18th century or 17th century, he lived a long time, lived to be the age of 84. Isaac Newton, who has developed almost all basic scientific principles, that guy, he was a lot smarter than me. Louis Braille, born in this state in 1809. He was French. He invented, of course, the Braille system. He was blinded in a freak accident at the age of 3. An infection set in, and eventually it spread to his other eye. He was totally blind by the time he was 5, but he invented the Braille system, and the Braille system that he invented in like 1820 remains virtually unchanged. It is still the worldwide standard for people with visionary difficulties. Louis Braille, born in the state in 1809. We lost Don Shula a couple of years ago at the age of 90. He is still the winningest coach in NFL history. He won 347 games, although Bruce Belichick is closing in on that record. 33 years as head coach, 2 losing seasons. That is a remarkable statistic, and he was the head coach in 6 Super Bowls. Also a remarkable achievement. Don Shula, born in the state 92 years ago today. Clint Hill. Clint Hill is the last surviving person who was in the presidential limousine on the afternoon of November 22nd, 1963. He was the Secret Service agent who famously jumped up on the presidential limousine, shielded Jackie Kennedy and the mortally wounded President Kennedy as they rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital. Clint Hill, the Secret Service agent, 89 years old today. There are only 2 authors whose entire library I have read. One is John Steinbeck. I love John Steinbeck. I read everything he's ever done. And the other one is Doris Kearns Goodwin. Doris Kearns Goodwin is 78 years old today. She's written great biographies of LBJ, JFK, Abraham Lincoln, and FDR. Doris Kearns Goodwin, the historian and author, 78 years old today. And happy birthday to Michael Stipe, 61 years old today, the lead singer of REM, one of my all-time favorite bands, Shiny Happy People. Happy birthday, Michael Stipe, 61 years old today. 32 minutes after the hour, we have an opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty. Remember, it's gravy, not sauce. And then my complete conversation with Sean Zears, the interim broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. They had a good December. It's time to get January going. Sean joins us when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Katie Joslin, and I'm a pediatrician at CVCH. I would like to address some of the hesitancy that many parents may be feeling about the COVID-19 vaccine for their young child. My husband and I both work in the medical field, and we have reviewed the research, and we determined that this vaccine is far safer for our child than getting a COVID-19 infection. I encourage you to talk to your provider and find out if the COVID-19 vaccine is the right choice for your child.
At D.A. Davidson in Wenatchee, they believe your investment success begins with a personalized plan. A plan that is the roadmap you need to navigate your way to living your best years in retirement. D.A. Davidson can help you create a plan so you can take the time to enjoy the finer things in life. Let the financial advisors at D.A. Davidson help chart your retirement future today.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow. We have live bands to rock the night away, comedy to make you laugh, and if that's not enough, we have poker every Monday and Wednesday night. Club Crow in Cashmere has it all. Check out our Facebook event page for dates and times. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled into Wenatchee. We've got fun, affordable e-bikes for the whole family. Portable e-bikes that fit right in the trunk of your car. Fat tire mountain bikes plus unique vintage style bikes you won't find anywhere else. Get some exercise with pedal assist or just cruise up to 20 miles per hour with the throttle. Starting under $1,000, Green Motion e-bikes are affordable fun for the whole family.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, located in East Wenatchee, offers terrific views and challenging play for golfers at every skill level. From the golf course to the grill, you don't need to be a member to dine in style and play golf too. Highlander's well-groomed fairways and greens keep it difficult, yet friendly for your regular rounds of golf or a new destination for you and your out-of-town friends. Contact the Highlander Pro Shop today to schedule your tee time, outing, or tournament. Open 7 days a week, where everyone is welcome to play and eat.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration. so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, has become kind of a fad mental health diagnosis. People claim to have it or believe that experience such as having to go through a metal detector at a school can bring it on. Sorry, but no. The criteria for PTSD diagnosis, and I quote from the DSM-5, is exposure to actual threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence. Believe me, folks, PTSD is a serious diagnosis, and the symptoms are miserable. No one who understands the terrible significance of having PTSD would ever claim to have it if, in fact, they didn't. This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and that's my opinion.
Raising a family may have seemed overwhelming to your parents, but they weren't. Coach, teacher, life guide, caregiver. Family takes care of family. And as the circle of life continues, you now are their caregiver. It may seem overwhelming, but we're here to help you find the support services necessary so you can provide quality care to your elders.
Call Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington at 1-800-572-4459.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu because we work to get you to work.
When the people you serve are your friends and family, you see the world a bit differently. You understand that your survival depends on the health and strength of your relationships. Your word is your reputation, and that doing the right thing is the only way of life that matters. At Confluence Health, we remain humble. Trust is a gift that is earned, a privilege, an honor. And we remain grateful for the trust you place in our hands.
Hi folks, welcome to Save Mart. How can we help you today?
We're looking for a recliner.
Okay, right this way. Go ahead and move this chase on the other side. You can lift this up. Lifetime warranty.
Great, I want that one. I like that one.
That's a great choice.
And I want this one as well.
Okay.
And I definitely want this one.
Ooh. You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
What is the address of your emergency?
Yes, it's me. It's my husband. I think is there's something the matter with him.
It was a feeling that I'll never forget, like being able to meet them and know that he survived.
Okay, tell me what's happening. Is he conscious? No, he's not. Okay, take a deep breath for me. I'm getting you help.
Rivercom means to me that I still have my husband here with me. They're the ones that guided me through saving his life.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is Tuesday. That means it's time to talk Wild Hockey, and all things considered, not a bad quick little two-game homestand against the Prince George Spruce Kings last Thursday and last Friday. Sean Zears joins me once again, the interim broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. Significant layoff over the holiday season. Most of the players, of course, left their billet families and went home to wherever they called home to spend holidays with family and friends. And you could tell, I think Thursday night, the thing I noticed, Sean, is both teams were, I think, a tad rusty. It took them a little while to get their sea legs, didn't it?
Oh, it sure did. And it always does. When you have a long layoff like what both teams experience, and especially with Prince George having to travel, you're going to have these kind of lull, kind of first period doldrums where, everybody's just kind of feeling themselves out. It was kind of expected. I mean, there were no penalties. There was no scoring. It was kind of a boring game, to be quite honest, at the first period. And then, of course, things just wrapped up starting in the second period.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Wild won 2-1 in a shootout on Thursday night. And as we show highlights of a very exciting game, it went down to the very last shot in the shootout. Sean, give us a recap of your thoughts on Thursday night's game.
Well, I'll tell you what. It was really competitive. It was almost like it was a shootout kind of, or not a shootout, but I should say a playoff kind of feel. That's what Chris said after the game. It was exciting. You had a lot. The one thing I think Prince George took out of the game on Thursday night, you can't take that many penalties. 10 power plays against, at the time, was the number 2 power play unit in the league, but they did a really good job killing those penalties off. And it kind of, I think the one thing that you can't get really frustrated at Wenatchee at is just the fact that, you have that many chances. At least you got one in. And that was the most important one because that was the one that got them the lead. But they gave up that goal late. And I kind of expected that after about 60 minutes of play, when you've had a long layoff like what both teams did, that overtime, everybody's going to be gassed. And I'm telling you, it looked like slow motion for everybody. And the shootout itself looked like it was slow motion as well. But it was just it was a great goal. The game winner from Cade. I mean, he was the only one that scored in the shootout. And it was phenomenal. He did great in that.
You don't see that too often in a shootout. You don't see just one goal being scored, both teams combined. But as you mentioned before, Cade stuck in the back of the net on the very last of the shootout, and a W is a W.
That's right, exactly. And give credit to Tyler Shea and give credit to Jordan Fairley, the goalie from Prince George. They both played excellent games. In fact, Jordan Fairley, he is single-handedly the reason why this game was 1-1. He just stood on his head, made some unbelievable saves, and Tyler did the same thing. I mean, he was really, really untested in that second period. When you're a goalie and you don't get to see much action, you start to tend to maybe falter a little bit later in the game because you just don't have a lot of action. But Tyler did really well. So, again, love to see more of those kind of games. Those are always fun to watch.
What's the frustration level of a team that in the second period, again, we're referring to Thursday night's victory, the Wild outshot Prince George in the second period 22-4, and yet they didn't score. How does a team rebound from that, knowing that we had 22 shots on goal and couldn't get one in? Is that the goalkeeper was just good, or was it, as you mentioned before, they were still a little sluggish perhaps in the second period?
No, I think it's definitely the goaltender was just unbelievable. I mean, he has a really good record overall anyway, and his save percentage showed it, and his goals against average showed it as well. So I think when you're dealing with a hot goalie like that, you just put shots on the net. Something is eventually going to go in. And the goal that was scored was a tip-in. It really was deflected. It wasn't like it was something that he missed or anything like that. It was deflected, and that's the only way they got the one goal that they scored in regulation on was a tip-in. So hats off to both goalies. So I like to, I like seeing a great goaltending feat with both goalies because it just puts more pressure on the offense to be more creative and you make more creative passes and you try and do more things. And again, fun game on Thursday night. Loved it.
You mentioned crazy goals, and it was a crazy goal Friday night that really made the difference. That brought up the final was 5-3. When Prince George went up 4-1, the goal that they scored to go up 4-1 in the second period was it looked more like an onside kick than a hockey shot. As we roll highlights of Friday night's loss, it was a strange goal, wasn't it?
Oh, it was totally strange. I mean, there was a lot of strange things about that. I mean, they gave up a shorthanded goal. It's been the first time in a long time they've done something like that. And this is after the fact that, they had this great power play going in, and then you have something like that happen. It becomes a little, you wonder, well, what happened? What happened? Well, I can tell you what happened. Quinn Emerson wasn't on the ice. He was a scratch that night. And there's one of your power play guys right there. And, when your captain's gone, it does. It creates a sense of urgency of who's going to step in, who's going to create, who's going to be that person. And unfortunately, they just looked out of sync and just a little bit a step slower. And, I'm hoping that it just wasn't the fact that everybody was just, still maybe get those sea legs, or maybe something had happened on, the night before. But yeah, one of those games where you kind of want to take it back a little bit and see if you can start over, because again, no penalties in the first period, no scoring in the first period. And then the wheels just came off, and they tried to make a game of it. It was 4-2 going into that third period, but and unfortunately, when you start getting up there in 5 and 6 goals, and it's just not, you're just not going to catch up.
Some things haven't changed from the last time we talked. Our special teams still is one of the best units in the league. We're at or near the top in penalty kills and scoring with a man up. So that continues to be a really strong point with this team.
Yeah, it truly is. And they're doing something that, I know on Thursday night that they did. They didn't take many penalties on Thursday night. Friday night was a different story. But still, though, they were able to kill off all the power plays that were awarded to Prince George. So, in a sense, you're going to win more games if you can capitalize on those chances. And same thing, you can't take too many penalties, because when you go against these Pentictons and Salmon Arms and teams that are really good, well, they're good because they have great power plays, and they're great because they have unbelievable penalty killing. And, that's got to go a long way. And again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, because, you still got plenty of games left to play. But if you can keep the special teams on par, keep it level, not drop, but just keep it where it's at, I think this team has a lot of winning to do.
I don't think there's any question about that. They won 6 games in a row before they lost to Prince George. There's a lot of hockey to be played. First thing out of the box, they're going to be heading up north again to take on Coquitlam and then Chilliwack. Now, these teams are actually in the Coastal Division. And if you've been following our conversations, they made the decision a couple of months ago that Interior would only play Interior and Coastal would only play Coastal. Well, in this Omicron COVID-19 world of ours, everything has to be a little flexible. There's a lot of give and take, and they've decided, well, no, you can go ahead and go up and play Coquitlam and Chilliwack. And so they're going to this weekend.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun because it's a non-conference game, so, non-divisional game, and you get to see opponents that you really haven't seen before. And, they played Chilliwack in Chilliwack, obviously. I shouldn't say they played Chilliwack, but they played in Chilliwack for the showcase, so they're familiar with that. What's really important is just trying to get wins against these opponents that you're not going to be facing, because every win counts. And after this, it's all divisional play. And it's so important to get these wins against these non-divisional opponents, because, again, it's 2 more wins possibly that you could pick up that another team might not be able to get, because they're not going to be able to play anymore against the non-divisional opponents. And again, it's not like Coquitlam and Chilliwack are slouches. They're not bad teams either. They're right there in the middle of the pack. So it'll be a good test for Wenatchee to go up there to see, experience, how they are up there. Now, of course, with their protocols, their arenas are only half full. So, and that's the max that they could have is half. So, Chilliwack didn't have anybody there at the showcase. So for Wenatchee to go there and play and to have some fans there, it'll be a little different. But yeah, you're so right with the COVID, Omicron, everything going on. It's turning everything upside down, and it's making it's really a disadvantage for the Canadian teams, especially the home games. It's just not as many people able to go, and we'll start seeing that here soon.
There is good news, though. They've added some extra games to the Town Toyota Center. It started out with 30. They cut it down to 28, then to 20. Now they're back up to 20, whatever. I'm losing track of that. But a couple weeks ago, they announced that they're going to be adding some games to the Town Toyota Center, which is good news.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that they're all Wednesday night games. So, and they all start early, which is always good, especially for me. But they get to play Penticton on the 15th. They get to play Cranbrook on February 2nd, and then they got West Kelowna on March 2nd, and then Trail on March 9th. All of those are 6 p.m. games, and they're all at the Town Toyota Center. So that's more revenue for Wenatchee, and that's four more games. Now, what I thought was going to change but didn't is how they determine the playoff seedings, because everybody's got 54 games now. Now, you would think that they would change it back, but they're not. They are leaving the winning percentage the way it is. So if you're winning, if you have less points, you could still be ahead of a team because of a winning percentage. And I think it all evens up at the end anyway. So these overtime games could eventually mean something for Wenatchee if they start winning some overtime games. That shootout is a big victory. I mean, that's big to win a game in a shootout. But to win more than lose more is always important. But yeah, to get more home games, it's always fun.
And it should be pointed out that they didn't want to. They changed them. They changed the way that they were going to do the champions of the various divisions and how the playoffs were set, as you mentioned before. And they didn't want to switch back again because they didn't want to switch the rules right in the middle of the season. And so I think that was the prudent thing to do, to keep that keep it the way. Yep.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you have to. And it's so fluent. I mean, we don't know one day from the next, 2 weeks from now, they may be saying that nobody can play in any of these arenas, and who knows? Let's hope it doesn't get to that. I don't think it will. But I know that, especially here in this area where I'm at in Illinois, the cases have just skyrocketed. And, people are just being more cautious, careful, and which is a good thing. And I think everybody's got to take that in mind. But for the league itself, they're doing their best to try and keep everything, level and just going with the flow, I guess. And like I said, you couldn't pay me enough to be a schedule maker at this point. Nope. Couldn't do it.
A couple more questions for Sean Zears, the interim broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, and we'll send him on his way. We always like to talk about a good thing about the Wenatchee Wild, something that the fans can be proud of and hang their hat on. We've been talking about special teams. Who gets the special Sean Zears Award of the Week? Congratulations, I just made that up.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to go with the 2 lines that play on the penalty killing team, because they didn't allow a single power play goal to Manetly, Prince George. I almost said West Kelowna. I got West Kelowna in my mind for some reason. But no, Prince George. Those guys are just. It's not easy to play shorthanded, and again, they finally had all 12 forwards on the ice on Thursday, and then if Quinn goes down, and guess what? Now you're back down to 11 forwards, and when you get shorthanded, you're asking a little bit more. But as Chris would say, these kids love to be on the ice. They played 60 minutes if they had to. Now, I don't think their body would let them play 60 minutes, but again, big time ups to those guys. I think they're doing a fabulous job, and it's going to be fun to see here in the next few weeks how it all pans out.
This is not the same Wenatchee Wild team that took to the ice back in November, folks. This team has gelled as a team, and they're playing pretty darn good hockey. Speaking of playing pretty good darn hockey, leaders of the NHL Central Division. You want to go ahead and do the honors? Who's leading the NHL Central right now?
Well, I haven't looked at the standings, but it would be the St. Louis Blues. Again, I did not expect that the hockey outdoor, outdoor classic, winter classic to be the way it was. I'm sorry. I mean, Jordan Kyrou single-handedly dominated the second period, and I don't know how anybody could have their hands feel anything. Because it was cold. I mean, it was 8 below when the game started, and it got colder and colder, and they just got hotter and hotter and hotter. And, I'm excited because I think they're about a defenseman away from being a legitimate cup contender. Are they there yet? I really don't think so. No, I think they still they got to add one more defenseman to that back line. And once they get him, look out. They're going to be tough because they are the deepest team forward-wise in the league. I mean, all four lines can score.
As our friend Art Checker would say, first is better than eighth. So there you go.
Amen to that.
Sean Zears, the interim broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. I hope to see you up here in the Pacific Northwest in the not-too-distant future. Your invitation to be here in studio, it stands.
I can tell you right now, I am coming up. I got my airline flights booked. I will be calling the games on Thursday and Friday, January 20th and 21st. And we're doing something special, hopefully. I'll have more information on that on the 22nd for the road game up in West Kelowna. So once we get more of the details, I'll have to pass it along. But I will be there in person, and I would love to meet everybody there.
Until next Tuesday, Sean, Happy New Year, my good friend. Go Wild, and we'll talk to you next week.
You bet. We'll talk to you soon.
Sean Zears, the interim broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Winter is a great time to trade in your current hot tub. Turn your old hot tub into money with Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa's trade-in program. You can save $500 to $1,000 off of any new artesian spa or take advantage of a free Bluetooth music experience. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa recommends draining your hot tub every 3 months. Ask us about our drain and refill special. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa today.
ColorFX has moved their shop to a larger location to expand their services, including adding in a state-of-the-art large format printer. They got it. You need banners? They got them. You need vinyl decals for your cars, trucks, vans, or trailers in just about any size? Yeah, they got it. ColorFX has also been providing fun swag and clothing for local churches and high schools around our valley for decades. Support your local print shop. Call ColorFX in Cashmere today. Couple minutes left to go on this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is very dense ice fog is actually what they're calling it. 12 degrees outside of our studios. We are going to see some sun breaks today. Can't rule out a stray snowflake over the next 48 hours, but what we're really keeping an eye on is Wednesday night into Thursday. A couple of slides we want to show to you once more. Again, off and on snow showers for north central Washington today and Wednesday. Just maybe a light flurry tonight, less than an inch for the Wenatchee Valley, but all eyes are pointed towards what's going to be happening Wednesday evening through Thursday afternoon. We have a winter storm watch has been issued by the National Weather Service, and we're talking a significant snowfall, more than what we had yesterday. Now, the computer models are in alignment. This could be a pretty good one. Now, Grant Olson will have updated forecast details for you tonight with the news at 5, 6, and 10. But in the meantime, here's what we're looking at for the Wenatchee Valley and north central Washington. For today, we will see some sun breaks. The fog is supposed to burn off a little bit warmer than yesterday. We only got to 21 on Monday. A little bit of light snow tonight. No big deal. It's just a quick wave and it come through. Wednesday, we're going to start clouding up. Deeper into the day, the increasing chance of snow. By sunset Wednesday, about 5 o'clock tomorrow night, it's going to start snowing, and then heavy snow in the overnight hours Wednesday into Thursday. You're going to wake up Thursday morning with a whole bunch of new snow on the ground here in the Wenatchee Valley. By the time the storm system leaves Thursday night, 4 to 10 inches of snow in the Wenatchee Valley. The mountain passes could get 60 inches of snow. Be forewarned. Again, updated details with Grant tonight. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.